Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Are you a single person? Perhaps you live alone and you're concerned with what kind of food storage can I do for myself? How can I prep as a single person? I'm all alone and there's just too much to think about. It's too hard to plan. But you know what? It isn't, because for one thing, you only have to worry about what you like to eat. You don't have to worry about what people in your family will eat. So it's really kind of easy in some respects. The thing to remember about prepping is don't let the things you can't do discourage you from the things that you can do. Prepping doesn't need to be for an apocalypse. It needs to be for the day-to-day emergencies that come everyone's way. Maybe there's a power outage, a winter storm. Perhaps you've lost your job or had an economic downturn, a bill you didn't expect, or just all the natural disasters that happen wherever you happen to live. And those are the types of situations that you need to plan for. If you live where there's hurricanes, prepare. If you live where there are earthquakes, prepare for that. If you live where there's tornadoes, that's what you prepare for. What kind of foods should you stockpile if you're prepping for one? Easy. What do you like to eat? Make a menu plan of what you eat in a week, or keep track of what you do eat this week. Then the next time you go to the store, the items that you chose that are shelf stable, instead of buying one for next week, you buy two and you put one in your pantry to use and one in your stockpile. Then the next week you buy two again, one to use, one for your stockpile, and before you know it, you'll have several extra weeks worth of food. Even if you only have $1 extra, buy one extra item and put that in your stockpile. Little by little, you can build up your stockpile until you have an extra week's worth of food, 2 weeks worth of food, a month's worth of food, and it isn't as daunting when you look at it as a little at a time. Nobody who's a prepper went out and bought everything to fill a bunker in one day. Every one of us stockpiled a little at a time. And then you rotate the things that you have. You use those things, but you don't just use them up. You use them and replace them so that you still have an adequate extra supply of the things that you enjoy eating. When you go to the store, you can find foods that are designed for single meals. There are all kinds of pouch meals, packets of meals, meals in little dishes that are designed to go in the microwave. There's all kinds of those things, and those are nice to have for an emergency because they're completely cooked and prepared. You're only supposed to zap them in the microwave, but guess what? Because they're completely cooked, if you don't have a way to heat them up, you can still tear them open and eat them, and you have a full meal. It probably tastes better heated up, but it's not necessary to heat it up. And in some situations where you don't have power, being able to just tear it open and eat can be a blessing. I like to take some of those kind of foods when I go out to my granny camp, which is my Alaska off-grid cabin. Because there's no power or running water, one of the things that I do is on my little camping stove, I'll heat up a pot of water, drop in the pouch, and let the pouch heat up in the water, and then you can tear it open and you have a hot meal. So there are ways around power outages. You might consider getting something as simple. An emergency stove is very inexpensive. They only cost a few dollars. You can pick up the little cans of sterno fuel, but if you have a Dollar Tree near you, you can also buy the fancy heat, and those are only $1 and give several hours worth of heat. They're little alcohol stoves. They aren't going to heat anywhere near as quickly as heating on your stove, but it can certainly be effective heating up your food to make it more palatable, and being able to even heat up some water, make some coffee or tea, or add some water to foods that are instant and need a little bit of cooking. Ready to eat meals come in little bowls and little pouches. They also come in cans. Look over the canned foods. You go up and down the aisle and see what foods look interesting. What might I like to eat? And then if you think one looks interesting, buy one. Take it home and try it. If you like it, you can always go back and get more. So you can see it doesn't look very appetizing. The package looks much better, and technically it smells pretty horrible. But I guess it's only fair if I actually give it a taste.
Okay. It tastes as terrible as it smells.
Think of it as an adventure. Every time you go to the store, look for something different. That's what I do. It adds variety into your meals. That can be the hardest thing, is avoiding food fatigue. It's also important to think about the long-term food storage. Grab a bag of rice, get a bag of beans. You can store them into mason canning jars. You want them in an airtight container. You don't have to buy buckets of food. You don't have to get Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. You can seal your food in clean, empty jars and plastic bottles that have held food. The plastic bottles need to be PET or PETE, things like a pop bottle that are cleaned out, that are sturdy and can hold food. Don't use something like an empty milk jug. They're not designed to last, and you just can't get out all of the residue of milk solids. So whatever container you decide to use, make sure that you clean it well, and then when you think it's clean, put on the lid and leave it for a few hours, then remove the lid and smell it. See if you got all the aroma out of pickles or orange juice. Some strong food odors, you just can't remove it, and so it's not necessarily something that you want to use to store a different kind of food. You don't want the aroma of pickles in all of your food. What's interesting is the little cups of things like macaroni and cheese sometimes cost as much or more than an entire box that makes more food. So maybe you want to go ahead and buy the whole box because you can put half of it away in the refrigerator, or just eat more of it so that you make sure you have enough to eat and you make your food dollars go a little farther. Betty Crocker muffin mixes and Idaho and potatoes are just two of my favorite go-tos. The muffin mixes, you only add water. It makes 6 little muffins. And the mashed potatoes, you just add water. You can even make half the package and save the other half. You can still have all of the condiments and ingredients that you like. Buy them in smaller sizes. Choose the smaller size so the food doesn't spoil before you use it up. Get the full value out of your grocery and food storage dollars. Look for shelf-stable milk. Powdered milk. I recommend the Nido powdered milk. It's Nido Fortificata. It's by Nestle and it is really delicious. It lasts for several years. I store it in a canning jar, airtight container. I can get it out and scoop out as much as I want whenever I need to use it for my recipes. Also, you can look for something as simple as egg replacer from Bob's Red Mill. You can use it when you're baking, and the one package of powdered egg replacer, it's not eggs, but there's the equivalent of 34 eggs in the package. So you can use it in your baking. If you want eggs, this isn't going to work, but it works great if you're baking. Look for fruits and vegetables in small serving portions. Look for dehydrated or dried fruits and vegetables. For example, you can find carrot chips. I found dried carrots at the Dollar Tree. You can also find energy blends, protein blends, fruits and nuts in small packages. Tropical fruit mix, they're very good, and they're pre-portioned in multi-packs, so they are single servings on the inside. One of the delicious things I found are Wisps cheese crisps. They're 100% cheese. They're real cheese, and I found them in the produce department, and it's little rounds of cheese that can last for a long time in a shelf-stable form. Look for cans of meats. You can find them in small sizes: salmon, ham, chicken, tuna. You can also find them in little pouches. Some of the flavors of pouches I've tried and I found them to not be very good. I don't like the extra things they mixed in them. So if you think you'd like it, like I did, take one home and try it. And if you like it, you can always go back and get more. Something I found interesting was the little pouches have far less food in them than the cans, and some of the pouches even cost more. If you can afford it, get some of the Mountain House type meals. They're already dehydrated. They have a shelf life of 25 years. You only have to add water to make a meal. What's nice about these is, yes, you're supposed to add boiling water, but they're designed so that if you can't heat water, you can still add water, and you just wait twice as long and they're going to rehydrate. So they may not taste as good, but they're certainly going to be fine. Along with food, make sure that you're getting necessary survival gear. Just simple items that will keep you safe in your home if there's a power outage or some kind of an emergency. You can get the folding stove. Make sure that you have a little pot, some fuel, and a spoon. Think about emergency shelter, something like a life tent, a life bivvy, something to keep you warm, a poncho, a survival blanket. Get some paracord. This stuff is great. It lasts forever. And say the power goes out and you need to hang your clothes up on a clothesline. You can make one out of some paracord. It can be as simple as that. Get a few flashlights, have the batteries that go with them. I like this one because it's USB rechargeable. Make sure you have some kind of a radio so that you can keep track of what's going on. This one is the Eaton Scorpion. It also has a flashlight and it works really great. Get some candles. Make sure you have matches and lighters. Get an external battery bank like a solar power pack if you want to make sure that you can keep your electronics charged up. Store water, and then you can get something as simple as a Life Straw water filter bottle or some other kind of a water filter to make sure that you'll continue to have fresh drinking water. Maybe you'll need to start a fire. Get something as simple as Instafire or make some fire starters yourself. You can get something as simple as a plastic tote that can fit under your bed. Put your supplies in there a little at a time as you gather them up. Think about all of the areas of prepping, from food, water, shelter, first aid, and any tools and emergency supplies that you want to have on hand so that you can take care of yourself the best that you can. Prepping doesn't have to be hard, whether it's for a single person or a family. You just need to start where you are, do a little at a time, add to your stockpile, plan for the future, and before you know it, you'll have so many things and you'll feel more confident in yourself and the skills that you have, and that you'll know you'll be able to help take care of yourself no matter what the future brings. If you enjoyed my video, I hope you'll share it with someone else you think might like it. Learn more at alaskagranny.com, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.